Unashamed Unafraid, a show unashamed about sexual addiction recovery and unafraid of coming unto Christ for healing, where we share real recovery stories, learn from experts, and share resources that actually work. So join us in being unashamed and unafraid.
James.
What's up, Steve?
Well, as they say in Hamilton, one last time.
One last time, Steve.
Because we're here with Sam.
You are here with Sam.
The new and official future host of Unashamed Unafraid.
Is that right?
Ooh, big reveal.
I'm just finding this out now.
Says Sam. This is going to be, shout out to our outsiders. Freaking love you guys. There's actually several of you that led to this taking place, which we can talk about on this episode. But just wanted to have an official episode of passing the baton and what's next and all the exciting things. And most importantly, the why.
Yeah. I think the why is important.
Agree.
Do you want me to talk about the why right now?
Sure.
Or just later down the road as this
Well,
episode progresses.
Let me do a couple myth busts. So let's lay the groundwork here. So Sam, are you done with recovery and figured your whole life out?
No, not even close, Steve.
So you're in process, one might say.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Within a year of my age, a decade ago when I started Unashamed Unafraid. So some similarities to us.
Actually, I think when we recorded the first episode I was in, I was like within a month actually of your same exact age. So.
Yes. So that's right. And so connected with us through Warrior Heart. That's how we met.
Yeah.
So again, if you haven't been to Warrior Heart, what are you doing listening to this podcast, not coming to a Warrior Heart? It's the best. So warriorheart.com.
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 Make sure to have the in there. A. Spelled A.
Either way.
Yeah.
What everyone knows I can't read. That's why we do an audio podcast with the video. So I think we have to start on our end before Sam can start on his end. So
yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. So really one of the genesises of, I know there was too many S's, of this conversation was being down in Arizona with Corey Emmett, Major Warrior, shout out. Been on the team for Unashamed and Unafraid for a long time, handling all the scholarships. And Corey was like, you guys are stale.
Did he say that?
In so many words.
Yeah. He put it a little more kindly.
That's awesome.
But also what I want to say is I was talking to him about some conflicts in my heart. So one thing I'll put out as a little tease if someone's actually listening, and we can talk about it more maybe a little later, is I actually am putting more time into Unashamed and Unafraid than I personally ever have. It's just in a very different capacity of writing a peer facilitated self-guided recovery process that people can do as groups of men within Unashamed and Unafraid, which James is having a heavy hand participating in. So like, whoa, what did you just say? Oh yeah, you're going to want to know. So just to be clear on the myth dispelling, James, have you fallen out of recovery?
No, I have not, sir.
Is Chris Bennett, the Hulk of Hope, who we always brag about his sobriety, has he fallen out of recovery?
Nope, he's still sober as ever.
And James, have I personally fallen out of recovery?
Certainly not.
So one of the myths I want to dispel is, by the time this is released, the episode talking about my divorce will have already happened. And so,
we didn't go off the rails.
I actually can report today I am 100% sober from everything.
Yeah.
So clock's ticking on that, and I'll check in. So myth dispelling, like our heart is not less in the message, correct?
No, I still love it.
All day. Love it all day.
Hope is real. Healing is real. You can overcome this.
Amen. And also in reality, because it's interesting, like, I don't know, and Sam, maybe you're different. Like, do you have a bunch of emotions sitting here right now?
Yeah, all the time.
Well, for me, I guess why I'm not feeling like closure emotion. Like I'm not feeling like grief or sadness. Because the truth, and this is why I want to say it up front, like we're not going anywhere.
No, we're still in it. Like you said, we're in it like deeper than ever.
Deeper than ever. I've 10x the amount of time I spend within this organization recently. And so what has happened is, as we've continued to move forward, the conflict that I have been in personally is, I remember what I used to sound like on this show. I've gone back and because I want to hear it out of your mouth. When you went back and listened to all the episodes, you described me. Do you remember what you said to me?
I don't remember what I said.
Well,
I can tell you what I think now.
Yes, tell me what you think now.
You just sounded really. You sounded like you hated yourself. Like you sounded like you were really struggling, and just there was like a deep chasm in your life that you were like engaged in crossing, and you could. It felt authentic, and you could hear the pain in your voice, and you were like the guy in recovery. You were there.
Yes.
I probably dissed you more than that. I probably dissed you. I was like, dude, you sound like an idiot.
No, you did not. No, you essentially said to me that you said it to me that way.
Yeah.
You said it that same way. And I remember being like, wow, he's saying what I needed to hear. And in fact, I was just doing me to ask a therapist a question thing on leading saints. And a guy on there said to me, I haven't told you this. A guy on there said to me, he's like, hey, you have that young kid on there now, Sam. And I'm like, yeah, totally. He's like, love him. That's been super cool to have him on the show. And so it's not a one up, one down. I don't think do you experience that from me?
No.
One up, I don't. So I was talking to Corey and I said, Corey, here's the problem. I said, I can't turn off knowing what I know, and that I now spend a lot of time working as a therapist, talking to people from that chair. And I have to be honest, I'm actually not ashamed of my history anymore. I feel like that chasm has been crossed in grace. Praise God. I'm not real happy that I got divorced, but I did. And I think it was part of the process, kind of accumulating, ending part of my process, and feel really good about recovery. And so it's weird because how I feel, where I was talking to Corey, as I said, I shared this with James after, and you can tell me that. Remember you picked me up at the airport?
Totally.
So anyways, we'll have that conversation. But I was like, Corey, I feel conflicted because I remember where I was, and I'm with people who are there all the time. But in my authenticity, like you just said, Sam, it's not where I am. Like when people are like, man, I don't know if I'm worthy or I'll make it, or I'm going to keep acting out. I'm like, no, I know. I don't. You and I are not actually sitting at the same place at the table anymore. And I said, and then the other problem is I am very clear about Unashamed being a nonprofit and us being the place where all in recovery can come and get hope. What I do not want Unashamed to become is a therapy clinic. James and I own one of those.
Yeah.
And we separated it intentionally. We were very clear about it. We absolutely could have been like Unashamed Unafraid therapy and just hung our deal here and done it like that. We were super intentional of separating it because I believe that people need access to free resources and free community and free connection in the recovery space. Do I think what we do as therapists is excellent? I personally actually really do. I think we really help people in recovery. That is not everyone's path. We've had stories on this show that people didn't do a day of therapy at all and are totally super recovered. So it's not the live all end all. And I make a living doing it, and it's not the live all end all. And so we were very intentional about wanting this to really be the brotherhood of recovery and that people got to do recovery, right?
Yep.
So I was
and from the place of not having it all figured out.
Yeah, where people currently in recovery can
right.
come.
And part of what the draw to just about everybody that comments or comes up and talks to me about the show is like, I love how real, raw, and authentic it is that you guys are speaking from the space of you're in it with me.
Totally.
I haven't gotten one of those comments for a minute.
Yeah. And I told Corey, I said, Corey, I'm starting to feel a little like disingenuous because here's what happened. And I'm not putting down any specific episode or person. Everyone we've had on the show is incredible, but I've started to have experiences on the show where I'm like, they're like, well, I think, and I'm like, tell me how that was for you, like right after disclosure or whatever. And they're like, well, I'm not sure. And I'm like, let me guess. It was kind of like this. And I like lay it out for them. And they're like, yeah, that is my experience. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this went from 2 people in recovery talking, sharing their story, to me like going into therapy mode or expert mode. And I'm just like, I don't want that on our show. I want that on our show when we invite an expert on the show. When we say, hey, therapist or recovery coach, come on and do your thing. Do your tap dance, give us some of your professional experience and let us learn from that perspective. But as someone hosting the show, I'm like, that's not who I want to be. But I try and drop in this previous space of you described well, like, dude, you had this chasm in you. I'm like, it just isn't there. Healing's real. So I think I'm a walking testament of that, what can happen and recovery is possible. But I wasn't there. So Corey's like, yeah, dude, maybe you're not the guy. And I'm like, I think you're right. And immediately you came to my mind. But so I have this experience with Corey down in Arizona. I show up at the airport, and then James, tell me your thoughts of how this came together.
It was a cold and windy night and stormy.
Really was actually though.
Yeah.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
James, such a storyteller.
I know.
For real.
this is the most
It's only going to get better from here.
the most verbose James has ever been on the show. So
No, it's jungle scene. Sorry. Is that a crow? Is that? Are you feeling the midnight?
No,
Sam?
that was
No,
the
all
first
right.
crow
it
I ever
wasn't
heard.
there.
Well, killed the mood. Anyway, so
okay.
you picked me up from the airport.
And basically you said something similar along the veins of what you kind of described of like, it's time for Unashamed Unafraid to change as far as us being so involved in the capacity that we're currently involved.
Right.
And then, basically said, I was hanging out with Corey in the hot tub, and Corey said, bro.
We were in a hot tub. This is accurate.
Yeah.
It's
Bro,
my hot
this,
tub. I know
the
that
show,
hot tub.
essentially, the show's getting stale, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's straying from its original purpose.
Yes.
And from its original meaning, and from its original rawness and realness. And so, so I had a minute of like, oh, that kind of breaks my heart that,
Yeah.
but no, that's true. It's accurate. And because we're not sitting here on the show anymore, really, as we're interviewing anyone and being like,
With you.
in the struggle. Instead, we can kind of just read your story and know what it's going to look like.
And I want a quick hashtag. Like, that doesn't mean our lives are perfect.
Oh, of
You're going
course
through
not.
some
No,
stuff
no.
right now.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
got divorced, people. Like, so I'm not saying like, oh, we have it all figured out and our lives are perfect. Just this particular issue, this phase, this stage.
Right.
That's it. So
Just this.
So
this
don't hear
part.
that we think
Yeah,
we're perfect.
no.
And you experience. Sam experiences. this.
Yeah, just this part. This part of our lives that was something that just meant so much to overcome and then try to deliver hope to the rest of the world
Right,
while
but
we were
what was
in
the
that journey.
feeling you had that windy
And-
night in the car when I dropped this knowledge on you?
The
What was
initial-
your experience?
my experience at first was
Because everyone listening to the show likes you more than they like me. So they want to know, like, wait, James is co-signing on this?
Yeah,
So I lay this vision in front of you,
sure.
and what was your felt experience?
My felt experience at first was sad,
Yes, and then
I knew,
I gave you a name.
and then I also knew that was the right name. The name of Sam.
So now we catch Sam. So Sam had reached out. You'd reached out to us before and been like, I want to be involved.
Yeah.
And we just like blew you off.
You did blow me off, actually. I don't think you ever texted me back, or you were like, "Hey, maybe you can get involved," blah blah blah, and then you just kind of like changed the subject. I was like, "Okay,"
we're-
but I
we're
wanted to be involved.
We're making repair right now.
that
for
could be true. So
Right.
we hired a full-time employee.
Yeah.
Right, a year and a half ago, and you actually interviewed for the job,
I did.
and you're like, I could do this, and I told you no,
You did.
and
In like the most hype man way possible, though. I remember like I got off the phone with you. You called me. We
Yeah.
talked for like 30 minutes,
yes,
and I was actually at work. I shouldn't have been talking to you, but I was like, okay, I got to call it Steve. Yeah, and I was like, oh, because what you explained to me was like, dude, like you're not the guy who like does secretarial work. Like you're like
You don't just want to be pushing the buttons, making it move.
Yeah.
And at the time, this was before us having this was months and months.
Yeah.
This is a year before us having the conversation about you essentially kind of taking my role.
Yeah.
But taking my job. And so we tell you no. In the meantime, Jaron, big shout out to Jaron, who has been doing a lot of the administrative, all of the administrative running of the organization, because I have not been doing it for about a year and a half, 2 years. My timelines are crazy. Jaron can correct us. But a little over 2. But Jaron had even come to us and said, I think my time and season in this role is done.
Yeah.
I don't know what's next, but I am not what's next.
Yeah.
So you guys, you're the vision guys, you're the head of this thing, you're the heart of this thing. I have come to do what I think God wanted me to do in this movement, and I've done it. And, I want to stay on the board and participate and be a part of what's going on. But as far as running the whole thing, I'm not the guy. So then fast forward, and I'm like, Jaron's job and my job, whoop, one person's job like I used to do at old school.
Yep.
Putting the whole thing together, I've got the guy. So we call you.
You did call me.
I've called you twice.
Dude, you gave me the
for
most
the record.
annoying word scramble. Because I was like, okay, so why do you want me to drive to Sandy and come talk to you and a bunch of other people?
I was
Actually,
like,
I didn't know.
I said you need to come and meet in person.
And I was like,
I need to meet with you in
that's
person.
like 45 minutes away. Why?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
And you sent me an annoying Survivor word scramble.
Hashtag Survivor's the best show ever. If you don't watch Survivor, you're lame.
And
And number 2,
disagree.
100%, I did an actual word scramble.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows.
Yeah. And the word scramble was larger story stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which you were totally baby about, didn't actually figure out. You're like, it's hard, never mind.
I think
I'm like,
I ended up
okay,
using
fine.
ChatGPT
Let me give you
because
some
I was
clues.
like, I'm done.
He's like, I got too much
larger.
going
I got
on.
larger.
Yeah,
He's
you did.
like-
You did get larger.
Like, I got too
Okay,
much going on in my
so
life right now.
He's like, I'm busy, man. Just stop wasting my time. And so he did not win the immunity idol.
I didn't.
Okay, so you show up here.
And you guys just sat me. We actually were sitting in this room.
The way
I was
we're sitting
actually
right now.
sitting right where right in this seat right here. And you guys
Yes.
were like, hey, we want to talk to you about Unashamed Unafraid. And you told me everything that you and James just described about the vision of Unashamed Unafraid and the authenticity that comes from this platform and how it's a resource for people to come and connect with other people in recovery so they don't feel alone and ashamed of the path that they're on. And you explained, just like you guys were just talking about, like
The story.
we're
and
missing
our
something.
Yeah.
We're missing something. And it's time for our time to be done. So.
And so you thought.
And I thought, okay, cool. So I still don't know why they're telling me this. Because I just didn't really think, oh yeah, like cool. Steve's gonna like hand his podcast off to me and like, this and that. It didn't cross my mind because I just like really felt kind of unqualified and a little bit insecure about something like that. So I was like, okay, cool. I don't know where this is going, but I think he's getting somewhere with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, so we kind of want you to step into this role of the guy, because you're the guy in recovery. That was me. I'm not that guy anymore. We want you to be that, and you're that guy. And we see that you step into these things with authenticity. You open up before other people open up, and you talk about things, and you're real
and vulnerable.
And it was, I think as you guys were talking, I was like, yeah, like that is kind of me. I don't know. I still feel like a little bit of an imposter, I think that's just part of like some of the things that I'm overcoming. But what I realized really quickly, I was like, this is a thing that I can do that's going to help me in recovery too. Like being that vulnerable and being that open and like talking about the things that I'm actually experiencing in the moment is one of the things I'm missing. Because you can do all the trauma work and all the things in recovery. And I've been doing them. One area that I've really been stuck in, though, that I was really excited and that made me, was probably the biggest reason I said yes, besides our involvement with Warrior Heart, right, was that
#WarriorHeart.com.
#WarriorHeart.com. warriorheart.com. That this is an opportunity for me to grow and just be authentic, and that's what I'm missing. Like I'm not I kind of clammed up and stopped talking to people about it because I was just like, man, I've been at this for so long. I'm tired of telling people about it. You know, I'm tired of like doing this. And then I realized I was like, that's like the worst thing that you can do. I'm being like, it was almost like God was like, dude, like, this is your gift. You have this gift. Like my whole life, I was thinking about it the other day.
It's like some people saw you in that.
Yeah. Yeah, like my whole life, I've always been the guy that all my friends come to talk about things. And I was wondering about that. And I was like, oh, I must be a really good listener. I must be. And then I realized, I was like, no, you're the one that talks first. You always go and talk to guys about what you're going through, and you're really good at doing that. And it's a really simple, easy skill. And that's what makes you awesome, you know?
Yep.
And so it felt right. And I actually like kind of had a mental breakdown, truthfully.
Uh-huh.
I went up to my little spot up Provo Canyon. And I like called all these people, and I was like, they're like telling me they want me to take over their podcast. And like, you know, I've like listened to this podcast, and like, I don't know, I'm not that guy. Like, I don't think I could ever like really be helpful in that space. I don't know if I really have what it takes, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody that I talked to was just like, dude, like, that's you. What are you talking about? That's you. That's literally been you your whole life. This is you.
Saw you from a mile away, Sam.
Yes, you did.
And I remember because Chris, you know, Hulk Hope's involved with Warrior Heart. And I was like, dude, so we're talking to Chris. I'm like, it's Sam Richardson. He's like, Sam? He's like, yeah. And he's like, dude, that guy hasn't recovered. He doesn't have it figured out. He's like in it, bro. And I said to Chris, I said,
exactly.
And I said, but Chris, we'll be definitely around in a mentorship role and a brotherhood role, you know, to call us, which love it when I get your phone calls. A little pissed that you called James first. That's a conversation we need to have. But
he always calls me
flip-flop
first, bro.
back and forth.
He said that. No, you don't have to try and like make it better now codependently. But just to really allow you, and I think what people don't know what comes with like title of host / executive director is like you're in charge. So, right, like the direction of this organization is happening in the direction Sam takes it. And you know,
so starting today, Steve and James, I'm cutting you out of the organization entirely.
That's a choice you could make. Yeah. I don't know that I would make that choice, but you're welcome to. No, just kidding. But we'll burn it down before we leave.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. But you know, I remember he said like, I don't know that I'm qualified to do it. And what if I screw it up? And I said, well, for sure you'll screw it up. That'll happen.
Yeah, that was heavy on my mind.
And it's just what needs to happen for it to be authentic, right? This is the movement of men authentically in recovery. And so the way you're doing it and the way you're reaching out is the way to do it. And again, you know, I think Jaron and Chris and, you know, James all had the conversation with me of, I don't know that ego is really the right word. I think it's more like pride of ownership. Well, like we love how we're doing it and we love the way we're doing it. And also we've gotten it so far. And I think we can have a way bigger audience. There's way more people that need this message. There's more people that need hope. I wish we were giving way more more of everything. More of everything. We need to do more of everything. I said, guys, we're in a where we are isn't that perfectly authentic voice to be talking from that space. So I said, if we move into a mentorship role and a supportive role, give Sam the keys to the car. You know, we'll stop him from pulling a Michael Scott. Turn right on the road, Michael, on the road. This is a lake. So I am very confident that we can stop you from driving it into a lake. But I really think, you know, God is putting on your shoulders the direction that it needs to go. And like I said earlier in the show, one thing we've moved to is to really allow this to be a movement, which we'll do another episode on and talk about, is for us to write all the stuff we know, whatever, and have a recovery self-guided group that people can really be a part of this movement in a real recovery way. Instead of just listening to the podcast or liking us on YouTube Shorts, which everyone subscribe to YouTube and like us. But, you know, doing that thing and to have you be the voice and start bringing that authenticity back. And that's it. That's the story. So baton officially passed. And I get to say, oh, this is the part where you get emotional. This is where the emotion's now showing up. It's been a gift for me, Sam, to just watch you and just be here with you as you try and figure it out and the fear. And, as we have some of the mentor conversations of like, hey, can we do this, or you can't do that, or can we set this up where how did we get in this situation with this circumstance, or like who is this person, and I need context because someone's trying to talk to me and I don't actually know what this is.
It's fun. It's so fun.
No,
Steven.
it's so fun. But you're like, I really hate you. But I think it's just been fun to see, and this is what I want to name. James, you can say whatever you want as we end here. What I want to name is, it has been fun to see that you love recovery as much as I do. You love this mission and this message as much as I do. So I know, and I've told everyone else to get over it, it's going to be different. You and I are very different. You're going to do stuff different than I've done it. And I don't know, for some of our audience, that's going to bother you. I'm sorry. Go listen to some old episodes and, send me an email. But, this is the way we need to go. And so although it's going to be different, the heart and the core of Real Hope for Recovery and the way you're doing it, that's where I know you and I align most of all, is just that passion and that love of, hey, save it, be that you help one soul get the kingdom of heaven. It's like, I know, but what if you get 100 or 1,000, right? And so that's the thing I want to tell everyone listening, like out of my own mouth. I'm telling you, Sam, it's the guy. You're the guy. This is inspired by God. You're supposed to be the voice of the show, at least for the next season. And hell, you're probably replacing you someday.
Mm-hmm.
But God's really with you, and that you have the right passion for it. And so I know you have what it takes, and you're going to get to recovered. So Sam and I have a running bet that I'm like, dude, I better not get remarried before you get married. So go to work, young blood. But other than that, it's all going to happen. I know it's all going to happen. And so I just think you talk about that chasm that was in me, right? Like seeing that chasm in you, I already feel like I get the sense and have the feeling of knowing that future Sam where that chasm is closed. So I'm just so excited. And that's why I think I have so much peace as we do this episode. I'm so excited to watch what you do and how it happens and how we engage even more hope. And buckle up, everybody. It's going to be good. I don't know. James, final thoughts about Sam? The old folks are staying to co-host. Let's clear this because no one cares that I'm getting off the show and everyone's like, ugh, finally he's out. Like finally we don't have to listen to Steve rant anymore.
Yeah.
However, me and Chris,
we'll still co-host.
We'll do some Live Unashamed episodes. So I'm not never going to be on the podcast again. Maybe Sam will kick me out of the show forever. But so no, co-host some stuff. Like I'm excited that one. We have a couple people I found coming on that I'll co-host with Sam when we do it, and so I'm not dead. But you'll hear a lot from James and Chris still.
Yep. Yeah, we'll be around.
I'm really the one being replaced. No one wants James replaced. Everyone loves James.
Yep.
And Chris.
Yeah.
But thoughts about Sam. I just wanted to clear that up.
Yes.
So everyone's like, you're all just leaving and gone? No.
Nope. I've already had the opportunity to, lean into Sam, and I'm like, this is exactly why we need you on the show. Every time we get together and you bring an insecurity, a thought, a thing, I'm like, and that's why you're the perfect host. And, Sam, you're just, as you lean into your personal journey of recovery and share it vulnerably, like that is getting back to the heart of what brought the outsiders to become listeners in the first place.
Who are an amazing group of people.
They're amazing. It's an amazing, we've got one outside. I'm super excited to meet him. Yeah. He emailed us, and so we're like, why don't you come and watch us record?
I'm going to be in town.
Yeah,
like,
come record. And so just that authenticity and the realness that you have brought to the table from the get-go, again, is like, that's why as soon as you said his name, I'm like, oh, for sure, that's the guy, And so while you might not know it, I know it. So until you figure it out, you can believe me.
And even after you figure it out, still hang out with us.
Yeah.
No promises.
So Sam,
love you. Yep.
It's now yours. Here's the keys to the car. You don't even have to be back by midnight because no one's keeping a curfew. Do whatever the hell you want.
Yep.
Don't freak out, everyone. He's a good dude. So, as the official host, executive director, the guy at Unashamed Unafraid, what do you want the world to know about this organization and the future and your heart and vision?
I just want people to know that we just genuinely want to be authentic and give people resources. I hear people come constantly and they're just like, dude, like when you said that thing on the podcast, like I connected to that. Like I experience that all the time. How did you know to say that? And I'm like, I don't know. That's just how I am. Like I'm experiencing it too. And there's like a real power to sharing and being open and honest about what you're going through. And I'm kind of excited to be a part of that because that's what I'm good at. And I also would just like to make the point that I feel a real sense of God's hand in what we do.
Yeah.
Like people feel Jesus when they hear someone else opening up and being honest.
Totally.
And that's what I'm most excited to see, get feedback on and to share is like more than anything else. I just want people to know how much Jesus is a part of this, what we're doing, what I'm doing, my recovery. Because like I've gotten stuck so many times, and I just keep putting in days, and I'm like, okay, I'll move on to the next thing. The room's a little brighter now. I can see, I got to go dust off the windowsill, and oh crap, I didn't vacuum that corner, and it just keeps coming back. And every step of that process that I, as I've been in recovery, what I see is that God just shows up for me.
Yeah. Amen.
And when people listen to the podcast, I want them to come away feeling like I don't have to earn it from God. Like he's just there for me. Yeah. I felt him when I heard these people opening up. And I know that I can replicate that in my own life because he knows me.
Mm-hmm.
And because, frankly, there's nothing special about us. I don't say that in a derogatory way.
No, that's what's
like
so nice about it.
Nothing unique about anyone we have on the show. There's a bunch of normal people doing the recovery.
And I'm just a dude in recovery.
You're just a dude in recovery.
I'm just a normal dude in recovery, and I get to come and just be myself.
Love it. Yeah. So if you want to be yourself, be authentic in recovery, look for the resources, find the light and hope. Stay with us. Stay tuned. Tell your friends join us. So
absolutely.
To our outsiders, we love you. You guys are amazing and the best. Send us all an email if you want. Steve, Sam, James at Unashamed Unafraid. And follow us on social media at Unashamed Unafraid. Legit, like us on YouTube. Get it. So if you get bored of what we're saying, there's some things to watch. So go ahead and follow us on YouTube. And if you're looking for scholarships to help, go to unashamedunafraid.com. If you want to help us with this movement, go to the website as well, /donate. And until we can connect again, we invite you to continue, like Sam, to be unashamed.